This is Audrey. How are you today? Yeah, it's been, I don't know about you guys, but today's been pretty crazy here. You know those days where you have your day all planned out and you have it figured out and nothing kind of goes that way? So that's kind of where I'm coming from today. So, hi, Leanne, welcome. Uh, and we're in the middle of that. I have so many gardening friends from the UK, and we're in the middle of that. The UK has already fallen back, and we don't fall back until Friday or Saturday of this week. So all times will be normal again next week. 2 o'clock US, 7 o'clock UK time. So thank you all for being here. I want to talk about I want to talk a little about microgreens today. I want to talk a little bit about the challenges of growing indoors during the winter, and I want to talk a little bit about planning our garden spaces for next year. And as always, if any of you have questions, and I think I've learned this really from working with the Potty Mouth Garden Club, if you do have a question, just type it all in capitals. That will really help me be able to identify it quickly and to get an answer that you might want to hear. So, quick hi to Rob and Claudia and Linda. Good to see you all. I think I already said hi to Leanne. Forgive me if I hadn't. I will now. So, do we want to start right away with microgreens? I know that was kind of a rage thing a few years ago, like everybody was jumping on the microgreen train. But for winter, and also I might even do them all through the summer next year because they grow so nicely on the kitchen counter and everything's right there. So I've done a lot of herbs. Let me show you what I've got happening right now. Uh, these are there's two peas up in it's one pea in the corner, upper left corner, and then next to it is a tendril pea, and then I have a spicy salad mix going, some dill, uh, and in the front row, let me start over here because I remember this. This is basil, cilantro. This is an Asian salad mix, and this is kale. Now, these were planted maybe about 10 days ago. They're doing beautifully. Matter of fact, the peas are going to be used over this weekend because they are more than ready to be cut. But it's amazing the sweet flavor of a pea you get from these pea shoots. Now, again, these still are microgreens. I've just let the peas go a little longer because I think they look beautiful in a salad when they're just a little bit bigger. So, and I think for this, I may grow more peas, I may not, but I love having fresh cilantro, fresh basil, fresh dill. So I think my next group of microgreens, when I pull out the peas, I'm going to add some more herbs that I just want to have nicely growing in the kitchen. So it's and oh, I don't know if I did the other picture. I wanted to talk about I grow them on hemp grow mats. I don't grow them in dirt in the kitchen for a couple of reasons. Um, I don't like fungus gnats in the kitchen, and fungus gnats, as you know, like that's the nemesis of growing inside. And, I usually use those yellow, sticky plastic sheets of death for the fungus gnats. But I prefer not to have those hanging around in my kitchen if I don't have to. So these hemp mats are completely neutral. There's no dirt. So they grow beautifully. Uh, there's no issues with bugs. I've had no molds because, also with microgreens, there was a whole lot of, well, it's getting moldy and it's not healthy. Well, um, it is. Let me just say hey to Danny and Graham. Graham, so good to see you. Um, where was I? Oh yeah. Uh, the hemp grow mats. They're wonderful. They have them, they sell them now almost everywhere. I know Amazon has them. I get them from a seed purveyor, and they're a once use. They can be recycled. Uh, they hold moisture beautifully, and like I said, you get such a uh, clean edge to your microgreens. You can cut them right down to the mat. Uh, Nicola is asking, do I have heat as well as grow lights? Not for my microgreens. I do for my grow station when I'm growing more like vegetables and things. But yeah, because it's on the kitchen counter. So it's always around at least, 68, 70 degrees in there. So they do quite well. Can the seeds be grown just on wet paper towels? Claudia, that seeds will grow almost anywhere that you give them water. I have never grown microgreens that way. I have chitted some seeds that way where I want to see if they will grow a little bit. Uh, but I've never grown them in just wet paper towel. I imagine if it's kept wet enough, why wouldn't they? The hemp though gives the roots like something to really dig into. So I don't know, but that sure might be worth a try. I also did buy some. They're like recycled paper and wood. They almost look like a thick paper towel that also will work for microgreens. But I have these hemp mats right now. I'm using them. I love them. They work. And I can actually like pull them apart, take it right out of its little container, and I can give them to somebody if I want because they're already cut like into 5 by 5 pieces. So it works. It works quite well. Uh, I Danny's saying he's never heard of or seen hemp mats in the UK. I would check Amazon. And I don't know, I know UK, US, it's very different. But I was looking for sources today because I didn't want to talk about this and not have any. I did not check the UK Amazon, which I also do a lot of times. Sometimes you will also find hemp in rolls, like they'll come in 12-inch, and you can buy like a roll of it that you can cut into sheets. Um, but I can look a little bit more for that for a UK source that you might be able to get those. Uh, so I just want to say, I think for me, this is the best way to, you always see herb gardens growing on windowsills. Uh, I always, I don't have great success with that inside my house. And I don't know what it is. They seem to get leggy. Uh, they seem to, whoa, 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 wait. I've just found them on Amazon, 75 pounds for 10, like for 10 little 5 by 5. That is, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, that's crazy expensive. They do not cost that here. I would not even be talking about it if it was that expensive. Uh, wow, yeah, that's crazy expensive. Wow, yeah. Um, just missed my train of thought. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of ouching with you guys. That's really expensive. So we could maybe look for other options. Other than that, they might have also maybe a seed starting mix that doesn't have any, but seed starting mix is where you get those fungus gnats. Uh, I think you could grow microgreens in coco coir because what you're looking for is a very kind of an inert growing medium because they don't need nutrition because these babies are going to get cut quite quickly. They're going to be in the ground or in this medium for like what, 1 or 2 weeks, and then they're out. So, yeah, Audrey, I've said before, you need to open a shop. Well, I will. Yeah, that's a whole different ball. Could you imagine that if the way today went? I'm like, oh my goodness, that would have just been. I would have lost my mind. Yeah, that would have put. No, wow, 110 by 120. So that would give you 12 for two. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. I'll look for a different option for my UK friends because that's quite insane, to say the least. Because I think I get like 40 that are already cut into 5 by 5 pieces for like $14, and that gives me 5 full trays of microgreens, and there's no mess. So I'm willing to spend, just a hair more because I don't have to deal with any of the mess. So answer me this: have any of you guys grown microgreens before? Are you interested in trying? Because I would sure be more than happy to see if we can figure out a better growing medium for my UK friends. Because those prices, they kind of make my head hurt a little bit. That's crazy. So, have any of you tried microgreens? I'm really feeling the love of doing them with herbs because they're right there, and when I'm cooking, they can, you know, I get fresh. I don't have to always use dried. So I'm excited about doing that. Okay, so one of the other things I did want to mention today is last week we talked about gardening and health issues and things that we need to do to adjust our gardens to our current health situations. And I mentioned, I believe it was Graham who really um, was very open and honest about his particular struggles with health. And I mentioned that I have MS and that my right hand is not working like it once did. Well, I need to say a little bit more there. And I just want to say a little bit about this is that I was diagnosed with MS 25 years ago. And the first 10 years really did not impact my life at all. Last 15, definite big impacts. So not only am my right hand a little wonky, I lost the use of my legs about 10 years ago. So I have had to make some significant adjustments to how I garden. One of them is my raised beds are all over, they're about 32 inches high so that I can do some work from my chair. And a lot of times in my videos, you will see this cute little human being that is in my garden. And that is my garden apprentice. I found her as a young woman that really wanted to learn everything there was about gardening. She wants to learn about preserving. She wants to learn about cooking. And I was like, okay, I maybe not be able to do it all myself, but I sure can help this young woman who honestly could be my daughter. Um, I could help her and I could train her to do all of this stuff. So that's when you'll see sometimes the videos. I'll do all the voiceovers. I'm usually right next to her when this is happening because I'm teaching her when do you check for when a carrot's ready to pull it? How do you start these? So we're on we're starting our second year together. And it's been a wonderful relationship. So if think, now that really doesn't look like Audrey, it's not. And I know that I am a very blessed woman to be in a position that I can hire someone to help me, but she's like a sponge. She wants to learn all about it. She takes to it she reminds me a lot when I was younger because I was just like, tell me everything. I want to learn all about this stuff. So I just wanted to, it's one of those things when you're on YouTube, people only see what they see. But if you know me in person, obviously you know that I am in a wheelchair. So but I also don't want to go, so here I am in my it's a fact of my life. It doesn't encompass my life. So I just thought you guys are so kind to be here with me live. Let's just get to 10 on that. So we shall move on now. Okay. Uh, so I'm trying to think. I made a quick list here. Oh, okay. Growing inside fungus gnats. I don't care if it's microgreens, if you're growing lettuce, if you're starting plants, uh, whatever, you're going to get fungus gnats. And as I said a little bit ago, I usually use the yellow sheets of death, and the sticky ones where they fly by and get stuck, which honestly, when you think about it, is a pretty horrible way to go. But I heard, I got a tip from someone um, that she put cinnamon on top of the ground, and that helped with fungus gnats. Have any of you else heard that? I mean, I'm going to try it because, yeah, I'm going to try that because I really would rather not see these poor little things stuck to those yellow sticky pages and dying slow deaths. So I just wondered if you had, because that sounds like a much better. And I imagine it doesn't have to be like really good cinnamon. I'm thinking it could be like that. Every grocery store has your cheaper spices and then your more expensive ones. So I'm thinking this could probably be nice, cheap cinnamon. So I'm going to give that a shot, and I'll kind of let you know how that works. Or if any of you have done it, uh, please let me know. I think Pam, uh, and Pam may have been the person that told me that originally. Uh, it's a fungicide and an antibacterial. Awesome. So I'm going to do that for sure. So, how do you guys plan for next year? Uh, and although I can't always do all the gardening, I'm responsible for planning it all, figuring out where everything goes, what we're growing, what is it that I want to harvest, all those things. So here's what I like to do starting a new garden year, which for me is like right now. I'm now in the planning process for next year. And I like to start with a blank sheet of paper that just has kind of the outline of all my growing areas. Uh, and if there's any perennials, obviously I will put those in because although they can be moved, it's nice if you let a perennial hang out for a while because they will develop better roots and things like that. So I'll put my perennials there, but that doesn't mean I can't move them if I need to. But I do like the idea of starting with a blank slate and seeing what maybe my brain comes up with, or combinations of things I would like to try instead of just, oh, well, this is always where I plant my cabbage, so that's where I'm planting it again. No, I want to, and sometimes too, if you have your garden layout on a sheet of paper, you can even like turn it around and look at it from the other angle because sometimes I know that sounds really simple and kind of, well, yeah, sure you can. Uh, it helps you look at it differently, and you might see uh, a way to do things that you hadn't seen before. So, or walk around your garden a little differently, or your allotment, and look at it from different angles and take pictures of it and see if there's something new that you can try. Okay, Fiona, you're addicted to buying seeds. Welcome. That is, if you've ever been to my website, the top line of it says, "My name is Audrey, and I'm a seedaholic." I love seeds. Seeds are hope. Seeds bring new life. So yeah, I'm with you. I was trying not to buy a whole lot of seeds for this new year. Well, that didn't happen. So all I can say is I'm with you, and we can sure have worse addictions than seeds. So there you go. Okay, so and as I look at this blank slate for next year, I think to my harvest of this year, what did I really enjoy harvesting? What would I like more of next year, or what would I like less of next year? Or is there really something new I want to try? I'm trying not to do that, but as I just told Fiona, that was impossible. So I will be trying new varieties next year. Uh, so kind of do a mental checklist on, I'm about ready to harvest my first really good crop of celeriac. Can't wait. But would I want more next year? I'm pretty sure I do. So things like that, but I don't have to grow them where I grew them this year. So where would they look cool now that I've seen them fully grown? I've seen them develop into beautiful plants. Where might I want to see that next year? So don't get stuck in the rut of I've always done it this way, so I'm going to keep doing it this way. This year also I want to go back more of a potager kind of garden, which I started doing. That was how I gardened to begin with, where my flowers, my vegetables, everything was just all mixed together. And uh it was gorgeous. And now that I've had to go to these more structured raised beds for personal reasons, it all just seems very neat and, where everything's in a row, but that's not really how I think. So this year I really want to make sure that I've got cabbage growing next to snapdragons so that everywhere you look in the garden, it's beautiful. Although I do think vegetables are beautiful. So, um, but wouldn't that be pretty if while you're, um, looking at your beautiful vegetables, they're surrounded by beautiful, life-giving pollinator uh, bushes, right? We all love our pollinators in the garden, so I don't want to segregate them to one or maybe about six places in my garden. I want them to be able to be comfortable, be happy, live amongst all of it. So I'm going to work quite diligently this year to uh, to make it more of a potager style. Um, and so, how do you guys do that? Do you put your flowers in one area and veg in another? Uh, fruits. I know fruits are different because many times they need to be caged from the birds. Um, but what do you think about this whole let's mix the vegetable and the flowers together so it's just pretty all the way through? Because even, sometimes when you get arrangements, there's a lot of greens in the arrangements, right? So why not just do that um, in your garden? I think it'll be beautiful. Excuse me. I've been gabbing. I've been gabbing, so my throat is dry. Uh, do you have? Are you guys still harvesting from this year? I mean, I still have peppers out in my garden, peppers and chilies, because we went through this really cold phase. The plants survived, which shocked me. They don't look, like the big, uh, abundant pepper plant of August, and yet uh, the peppers are chili. Chilies are still doing great. Oh, let me share this tip with you. I got this from, I don't know if you've ever watched him. His name is Chili Chump, or his channel's name is Chili Chump. And this guy is like Mr. Peppers and chilies all day long. And I saw on his channel that he said if you cut the stem, like if you have peppers that are not quite ripe, if you cut the stem with the peppers, that the peppers will ripen if they're attached to the plant. And so he said, even if like you've cut off this whole stem, let's say you've got 6 peppers on it that are waiting to um, ripen, he said they will still ripen even if the plant is dying, because that's, I guess, how peppers work. Never did that, but I'm telling you, we are getting so close to like the killing frost here. So I'm watching it like every day, and the day before, I'm cutting those. But I'm going to cut them with plenty of stem so that maybe I'll get ripe peppers, because peppers don't seem to ripen the same way that a tomato will. If you pull off a green tomato, you've got a pretty good shot of turning that into a ripe tomato. Peppers don't. So I'm going to try this. And Chili Chump, if you are interested in growing peppers, interested in growing chilies, he's a phenomenal resource. That's Chili Chump, and I think he's in England. Don't quote me on that. I think he is, but I think he might be originally from South Africa. He has a uh, beautiful accent, which to me, how a South African accent, oh, at least to me, American ears, a South African accent can sometimes uh, sound a little Australian at the same time. So he's maybe from one or two, that area of the world, or Australia. But this man knows his peppers, knows his peppers. Okay, so let me kind of just go back here just a moment. So are you guys still harvesting? Uh King of the North peppers. Oh, that's another recommendation uh for, I mean, I can't believe those hemp mats are so expensive in the UK. Uh so are you really getting any harvest still? I imagine I mean, we're kind of definitely in a northern state in the United States, so I would imagine almost anywhere, unless you're more north than we are here in the US, you're probably still able to get some things in. I did have a surprise sweet potato harvest this year, which I know you're thinking, how do you have a surprise uh, sweet potato harvest. Well, we can get um, sterile sweet potato vines that just grow for being pretty sweet potato vines, and they don't produce fruit. Now, I bought one that said, "Oh, and as a, wink, wink, you might get a few fruit from this one, even though they're not sold as a fruit-bearing sweet potato vine." Well, I thought that where I planted one, which was in a big pot, a huge pot that I have on my deck, and I just wanted it to kind of be like this flowing, gorgeous sweet potato vine, which it was. So it covered the entire pot. Well, when we were switching it out to plant spring bulbs, which I think that video is coming out tomorrow, we got sweet potatoes in the pot. So it was crazy and wonderful. So I guess I did not plant a sterile one there. I planted one that could produce fruit. Um, and they were perfect size. Sometimes you can get big whopper sweet potatoes. And, it's just my husband and I now here. So we don't need like big whoppers, enough for two people is plenty. So, um, yeah, that was a great little find. So I have a feeling that the one I think was the one that's going to give me sweet potatoes is going to be the sterile one, and I gave it much more growing room. So we will see when that gets pulled out. That vine is pretty dead at this point, so it's not going to be giving me a whole lot more. Let's see, Pam. Whoop, I just missed you, Pam. Was something about your potato harvest. Mine hasn't been that great either this year. I didn't get the best potato harvest. Okay, you must be talking to somebody in the chat. Okay. Yeah, my potatoes didn't do so great this year. It's not horrible, but not great. And I only grew one variety this year, and it's our favorite variety, and it's Purple Viking, which I cannot get in the stores. Just a lovely potato. We're not huge potato. I mean, we like them. Obviously, I don't know anybody that wouldn't say they like a potato, but we don't usually eat many of them. Um, so next year, I've already ordered my seed potatoes. I think I have like 5 or 6 different varieties uh, coming out. So I'm going to grow a little bit more. And I'm a sucker for a potato reveal. How everybody says, I don't want to see one more potato reveal. I love them. I don't know why. It's always the same. They dig, they come up with potatoes. Um, but I don't know. There's something about, I don't know. Call it goofy, whatever. I love seeing them. Uh, but I do love anything that comes out of a root, like a root crop, because it's always a surprise, right? You can see your tomatoes, you can see your peppers. Um, oh, so Sophie's asking me, so what varieties did I order? Oh, you're gonna ask me. No, I think I might remember that. Obviously, Purple Viking again, because uh we just like those. I'm growing Kennebecs, uh Red Norlands. I think I have a fingerling, maybe an Austrian fingerling. And there was one. I don't like blue potatoes that are blue on the inside. I like them if they're blue, the skin is blue. I don't know why. I'm just not a fan of when the skin is blue or when the skin is red, because I did try both of those. Um, I'd rather have a nice potato. So I think that might be it. I'll have to check on that, Sophie. But I know at least those 4 I did order, and I think I ordered one more. But my guess it would be maybe an early red skin or a new potato so that I could get some early. Probably it's because I did order. Oh no, I did. I ordered 2 earlies, 2 mid-season, 2 late season. So, uh, so there's 2 I'm forgetting. I do believe 2 were reds. Yeah. So thank you. What is your favorite potatoes? There is one UK kind that I would love to grow, and I can't get seed potato here for it. And is it Maris Piper? I forget. There's one of them that I just cannot get. And so many people swear by it, and I'm like, yeah. Yes, Leanne's saying that red Norlands are a staple for her, although red Pontiacs grew bigger. Okay. Danny, thanks for being here. Say hi to Jane and Tony. How do I cure a sweet? Oh wait, let me put this. I will put this on the screen so everyone can see it. That's a good question. Uh, there we go. How do you cure a sweet potato for eating in storage? I've been told they need to be kept under polythene, then dried out. Um, I think it's more they need to be in a warm space for a while. Unfortunately, I don't really have, as we get colder, when sweet potatoes um, are ready to harvest, we're starting to go into cooler weather because they're such a long season crop. Um, so I typically let mine dry out like on my dining room table, which is not, they're supposed to be at like 80 degrees, maybe with some humidity. I've done that. I leave them there for a couple of weeks. It just helps the skin firm up a little bit. And then I store them like we have a basement closet that we call our pantry, but the floor is it's cooler and there's no heat duct in this closet. So that's where I store them. And they've done really well for me, unless of course we forget they're there. And then they grow everything uh, from soup to nuts. So yeah, you don't want to find sweet potatoes that are a year old. I'm just saying they're horrible. So that's what I do. Cure them on my table and store them in a cool space. And there's no light in that closet either. And that seems to do work quite well for me. So I hope that's helpful, Jean. Okay. So we've hit sweet potatoes. I still have some potatoes out in my grow bags that I will be getting out shortly. I know a lot of you can leave things out like year round. I cannot do that. So I will at some point be harvesting them. I still have carrots in. Carrots are doing great. Now I'm going to try to overwinter some carrots in my garage and see how they do. Maybe cut the greens off and just see if they kind of store out there a little bit. What else do I have in the garden still? I got all my beans out last week. Unfortunately, they all didn't dry because I grow a lot of fresh eating greens, but then I also like to grow some greens that I just keep for the beans, the dried beans. They didn't all dry on the vine, So I've got them picked indoors in trays that have holes all the way through them, and I'm just going to let them dry and see how they do. So, and I've still got my celeriac out there. I still have some fennel in the garden. I'm trying to get that as big as it'll get. It went in quite late. Like, I'm actually shocked I have any fennel. Um, they're beautiful, but they're quite small. So if I just get baby fennel, that's fine. But I'm trying to give them every minute they can get in the garden. So any of you guys like trying to push the season a little bit this year with things that you're trying to grow? Uh, Pam Clark is asking, do I get allium leaf miner? My onions got, oh, I'm so sorry. Not that I'm aware of. Now, here's the one thing, being on the Potty Mouth Garden Club, um, I've heard of a lot of pests that we don't have that I believe some of our UK gardening friends have a lot of. So, I was asked quite early on because slugs seems to be a big problem, at least with Steve and Tony and JB. Those are like problems. And I'd never had any slug problems, never. And when we went to harvest one of our grow bags of potatoes, there was a slug on the outside of it. And I thought, now, is this happening because now I know about this? Uh, but yeah, I actually had a slug. So I'm not aware that I've ever had allium leaf miner, but I understand it's quite a nasty little. Why does every vegetable that we want to grow seem to have a bug designed just for that vegetable? I mean, it's crazy. These leaf miners, we've got carrot fly, we've got you name it. There's a bug, squash bugs. There's a bug specifically for everything. But yeah, no, I knock wood, never had leaf miner, and I'm going big on alliums this year because we don't grow like we're not preppers but I got to tell you, every time we can just go down to the basement and grab an onion, it's wonderful. I don't have to keep track, right? You don't have to make sure that's on the grocery list for this week. No, onions, good. So this year I'm going to try to grow more long-term storage onions. Not so many of the sweet onions, but long-term storage onions, so that can be just something that's just part of our world. Like our garlic, which I'm still trying to process, all the crazy garlic that we grew. Um, so don't ever grow 700 heads of garlic. Yeah, don't do it. It's a lot, and we give so much away. So Fiona is saying that, where is she? There we go. Onion white rot and rust is an issue on my plot. Never had rust. I think last potty mouth we talked about rust a little bit, and it was pretty much not much you can do about it, and it shouldn't affect. Um, I think it was garlic that gets rust on it, doesn't it? Maybe there's other things as well, but the big thing was pretty much you might have to harvest it a little bit early, depending on how bad it is, but it shouldn't. Now, I'm sorry, it shouldn't affect the outcome. Now, onion white rot, I think if you were to like grow it somewhere in another part of the plot or in pots with new dirt, you might be able to overcome that, because I'm not sure if that's something that grows, if that's with the soil. I think it has to be with the soil, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to say anything more because these are two things that obviously I know very little about. So I'm just going to say I'm sorry, and you might want to. I know JB has dealt with a lot of white rot on his plot, so maybe he has a video, and that's JB Naturally, or Naturally JB. Yeah, Naturally JB. And he might have done something about how he counteracted his white rot. Well, hi, Rosalind. Thank you for joining us from the UK. Love my UK gardening friends. Okay, so does anybody have any specific questions, or because it doesn't just have to be me that answers. We have a lot of very talented gardeners in the chat that I'm sure would be happy to share their experience. If there's anything, did we finish talking about planning? I guess I just wanted to make sure, don't just do doing what you've always done is definitely the path of least resistance, right? But sometimes to do something new just changes the garden and makes it a little bit more exciting. So I'm just going to encourage you to have a look at your plot and see or your backyard. Like, I'm a backyard gardener. There's a lot of also people who plant or grow on just their own property. But have a look and see if there's just not a different way to go about it. And maybe consider, now I'm going to go all out with this year, but I really want to intermingle all of my beautiful flowers with my veg. Because I just think it will. Did you do a gardening journal? I did. Did we do that last week or the week? It might have been the week before, Pam. Said, did you do a gardening journal talk? Yeah. It might be 2 weeks ago on our live. I think the thumbnail looks like a journal, but I was talking about a whole lot of different ways to journal as well. And I hope that some of you considered some of those other options that might be easier than writing in a journal. So yes, we did, Pam. Fiona is saying that super soil is so expensive. Yeah, I just ordered my first packet of that, and sprayed a lot of my areas. From all the trials I've seen, it looks like it's pretty good stuff. So I am going to start when I'm growing indoors this year. Like, I just got my microgreens started, but I'm also going to be growing some vegetables inside this year. I'm going to do half my tray not sprayed, half my tray sprayed, and because I kind of want to see it for myself. And it's not that I'm a skeptic, but uh, I want to see it for myself, and I figured you all'd like to see it. And I think the more of us that can show that, oh my, because we all grow in different circumstances, and mine will be from indoor growing right now. But I did spray some of my outdoor beds last week with it because it said it doesn't matter when you spray. So I thought, okay, we're going into cool weather, but I'm going to give it a shot. And if it's as good as it appears it might be, because one of the things that super soil claims is it's one and done. Like, you don't have to apply that every year to your ground. It's influxing with microbes that are going to live in your ground. So as long as you don't add chemical fertilizers or, yeah, it's more like chemical stuff that will kill the microbes, it could be just a one and done. So that would not be true for pots and for growing indoors, but for some of my garden beds, I mean, that would be like game changing, I think. So anyway, I'm gonna give it a shot. I have pictures of what grew this year and what it looked like. So we'll see if, you know, sometimes stuff that sounds too good to be true is too good to be true. But I feel like this one, I've seen enough evidence and I want to see some for myself that I think, well, that might be worth. I've spent more um, on things that didn't work on my garden, so I'm going to give it a shot and see. And I just love that, it's an all natural product, comes from Ireland. Yeah, I'm very excited. So keep you posted uh, on that. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Am I missing any? Mary is incredibly funny if uh, you're not familiar with her, but she's hilarious. And I think she has the opinion like, you know, things that say they're too good to be true probably are. But um, I'm going to give it one more. I'm going to give it my college try and see if that's true or not. So thank you, Mary. You're hilarious. Oh, she's in Australia and it's 5 in the morning. That is impressive. Mary, hats off to you. Like, that is really impressive. I don't get up for much at 5 in the morning. So, wow, thank you. That's very kind. Okay. Uh, oh, wait, here's a question. Have you grown Chilean guava? I have not. I'm not even sure. I've heard of Chilean guava. So I imagine that's a guava fruit. Um, wow. And Pauline Morris has said she does. So, well, I'll have to look into that after the show and see what that's all about. Maybe I'll have to grow some. I'm always looking for something new and exciting to grow. So, yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so are we good? Are we good for this week? I have so much fun doing this. I can't even tell you. I love the interaction. I love that I can see people in the chat chatting with each other. Um, I think this is just a lovely community of growers. Um, and I think gardeners as a whole are just, uh, wow, it grows well in the UK. Okay, Fiona just said it grows well in Northeast UK and it gets pretty cold here. Yeah, it sure does. Well, I'll have to give that just the word Chilean guava, makes me think Chile. And I'm like, that's pretty hot down there. So, oh, here we got a couple questions. Um, how cold is it here? Right now it is 67 degrees, which is, let me see if I can do my conversion. About 16 degrees Celsius. So it's a lovely mild warm day. It's a lovely 67. I'll take that all day long. That is weather I could live in all day long. It's when it gets a wee bit hotter than that uh, they lose me on hot stuff. I thought I saw another question. Okay, this is from Graham. Have I ever grown kiwi? No. No, I never have. Is that a bush or is that a tree? I, for some reason, would think that's a tree. Don't know why I would think that, but that's what I'm thinking. And I don't know that I would have room for like a tree. I really want to be able to grow figs at some point uh, here in Michigan, but even like the Chicago Hardies that are supposed to be so, because Chicago uh, is that can get really cold there, but they do not survive the winters here for me. But I'm just waiting for someone to come up with a super hardy Chicago fig that will go, yeah, we can grow this in Minnesota. Then I'll go, okay, I'll try that one. So, yep. Well, good luck with that, Graham. I hope that works out for you. Oh, kiwi's a vine. See, you got to rely on somebody from Australia to know what a kiwi is. So thank you, Mary, very much. Okay. I think we're good. Now, Graham's saying it's a bush. Okay, well, it's a bush or a vine. Or maybe there's two different styles. And Amelia, no. If you're in the UK, Amelia's asking, will this be at 6 next week? Oh, sorry, that's not Amelia. There we go. No, because we fall back this week. You guys fell back last week. So next week we're back to 2 o'clock US time, 7 o'clock UK time. Is that a good time? Because I'm dang flexible, actually, in the scheme of things. So that just seemed like we do the 2 and 7 for potty mouth, and that seemed to work great. So, okay, then we've been on for almost an hour. These go by so quickly. So quickly. Thank you so much for being here. Mary from Australia at 5:30. Man, thank you so much for being here. Next week, I think we'll have an extra hour for you to sleep, unless you're falling back too. I'm really ready for this whole fall back, spring forward. Could we just pick a lane and stay in it? That would just be wonderful for me. Anyway, again, thank you so much. I hope you have a great week gardening, dreaming about next year's garden, thinking about all the wonderful things you'd like to grow or try. So, I won't say same time. I'll say regular old time next week. Okay. Thank you all so much, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.